Welcome into Talk Illini as the Fighting Illini got the win over the Boilermakers 88-82 in Mackey Arena. The Keaton Wagler game is what it was. What a fantastic game by Keaton Wagler. What a fantastic game by a lot of the guys on this team. A lot of guys stepped up, contributed, made this game a possibility, even though defense was a little suspect there in the first half. They came out, played much better in the second half on the defensive end, and with the offense just exploding, the 3-point shooting and everything else, it was a fantastic game. So please do like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. We are Talk Illini here, part of Orange and Blue News with the On 3 Network, and we got Carson Bounds here with us to talk through this entire game. Carson, I don't think there's any other place we can start other than Keaton Wagler and his incredible performance. 9 of 11 from three in this one, 13 of 17 from the field overall, 46 points, 11 of 13 getting to the free throw line. I mean, he shot more free throws than he shot threes in this one, and it was just a masterclass performance. If anybody questioned if Keaton Wagler is a lottery pick in the next draft, just watch this game. So Illinois fans, enjoy him while you got him. But holy cow, what a game by Keaton Wagler. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's not just one of the best performances by a freshman of all time in Illinois history. That's one of the best performances by any Illini in school history. I mean, you could probably count on two hands the number of 40-plus point games that have happened in school history. Recent memory, I would assume his performance against Baylor, a handful of years ago. I don't know if he crossed the 40-yard mark, or 40-point mark, but there's not a lot of games where this has happened. So for it to happen and for it to be Keaton Wagler, a freshman, 18-year-old freshman, is unreal. I mean, going into this game, the narrative was, Keaton Wagler and the team will have to step up to replace Kylan Boswell's absence. And not only did he step up, this is just, a performance for the ages, moving forward. Like, I don't know if you could replicate a game like this, but if you could be half of this for the rest of the year, he's going to go top 5. He's not going to go top 3, but he might be the 5th or 6th pick in the draft if he maintains half of this pace.
For sure. I mean, Illinois did a fantastic job of getting, the bigger guys like Clough and Jacobson and guys like that on to Keaton Wagler, and they just gave him far too much space. And when he wanted to drive, Clough did a little bit better of a job against him, but Jacobson had no chance against him. They got TKR on him a few times as well. We can talk about TKR and, some of the struggles he had not fouling in this game, which I'm sure every Purdue fan will, be totally fine. I'm sure everybody will be fine with the officiating of this game. But overall, incredible game from Keaton Wagler. Great job with getting on to mismatches and everything else there in the first half. I was wondering if maybe they should have went to the big man in the mismatch a little bit more, but with the way Wagler was shooting, the way he was playing out there, you couldn't get away from it. Andre Stojakovic, he had some mismatches as well, but we got pretty much a no-show game from him. 2 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3. He did hit one free throw. He had his hands full on defense with Braden Smith in this one. But when you got the hot hand in Keaton Wagler, I don't even blame him from going away from Andre Stojakovic because you got Wagler out there doing as well as he did. It was fantastic. David Mirkovic gets 12 points in this one as well. I mean, what are your thoughts on the supporting cast that Wagler had around him?
Yeah, I think David Mirkovic's game is probably going to go a little under the radar simply because of how loud of a performance Wagler had. But, I think I saw a stat. I want to say there was, at one point during the fourth quarter, we had 12 team offensive rebounds, and the majority of those came from David Mirkovic. Like, Illinois doesn't get the lead back. They were down 5 points, kind of midway through the fourth quarter. They don't get the lead back. They don't keep the lead. They don't win the game if David Mirkovic doesn't get them second chance points on offense. The offensive rebounding was, one of the largest differentials. That's one of the deciding factors of this game. Illinois shot north of 33-point attempts tonight, and the last 15 shots, half of them wouldn't have happened if an offensive or defensive rebound that David Mirkovic or one of the Avicic brothers brought in, didn't happen. Like, Illinois wouldn't have gotten the shots needed to, extend the lead to, at one point, I believe it was 8 points, and it got whittled down a little bit, but it was just, Mirkovic and the Avicic brothers, I think the rebounding is going to be a little bit of an unsung hero in this game, but it was probably, outside of Keaton Wagler, probably the deciding factor in my opinion.
Yeah, and Tommy in this one didn't even have points for the majority of the game. He comes in, hits 2 3-pointers, one of them was very late in the game to kind of solidify it there, but overall, I mean, for them to be getting the rebounds and everything else attached with it, Illinois out-rebounded Purdue in this one by a considerable margin. Total rebounds 33-19, so a 14 rebound margin there. And there were times in this game when Illinois was dominating the offensive glass, 13 to 2-3 for Purdue in this one. But there were also possessions where it just kind of happened again, and I think they got 4 offensive rebounds on one possession that was finally capped off by a 3-pointer for Jake Davis. He was 2 for 7 from 3 in this one, but I mean, overall, like you got good performances by guys, assisting Wagler, but none of these guys would have been enough tonight. The only reason, not the only reason, but one of the biggest reasons, if not the reason, why Illinois gets this win is because Wagler goes into Mackey Arena, scores the most points. I believe I saw that stat on the broadcast, was the most points by any player in Mackey Arena of the other team in this one. For a true freshman like this, somebody that has been so poised, and honestly, some people were questioning, like, does he have the poise to be able to go into Mackey Arena? And some people questioning him after the Alabama game, after the what was it, the UConn game, I think was the other one, where he maybe struggled a little bit at the end of the game. He did not struggle in this one at the end of the game, and the team did not struggle either. Jake Davis, Tomislav Visic, both coming up with huge 3-pointers. I think, to me, besides Keaton Wagler and how impressive he was, the way Illinois ended the game, hitting their shots and fighting off Purdue there at the end, was probably the most impressive thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of the reason Illinois was able to, get a lead back quickly was the 5-out offense that they run. They like to spread guys out and shoot the ball. It's come under criticism in the last couple of years. There have been times where shots haven't fallen for Illinois. The UConn game, both this last time and the tournament a couple of years ago, were great examples of that. But when this offense is clicking, as it's designed to do, and when guys are hitting their shots, it's almost impossible to stop. And we saw that today. If they get enough momentum going, the 5-out offense is virtually unstoppable. And I think that's why Coach Underwood is so, insistent on continuing to run it. And today it worked wonders.
It was a huge mismatch for Purdue's big men that they have down there. TKR a little bit more mobile, but Clough just could not keep up with that 5-man offense there on the perimeter. And it felt like they kind of didn't run it to its fullest extent until late in the game. I was a little curious why we didn't get that, but also, Wagler, like I said, was just so incredible in this game with his playmaking ability, his ability to shoot from 3 and everything else. It was almost like you didn't need it. Talking about on the defensive end now, Carson, obviously Andre Stojakovic, he had the assignment of Braden Smith in this one. It's a very tough assignment for Stojakovic. A lot of people concerned. Sonny and I talked about it a lot in the preview. What would the defense look like? We felt like the offense could continue to play well and continue to put up a lot of points without Kylan Boswell, but it was on the defensive end where we were the most concerned. Didn't look great early. Purdue got really hot. I think at one point they were 100% shooting from 3, and they were like 78% with like 6 minutes left in the first half. So it was not good there for a while, but here in the second half, they come in and they lock down, holding Purdue to, how many points did they have in the second half? Where's my box score at here? It's hold on. I just had it. This is bad podcasting here. Purdue had 39 points in the second half. So compared to the 43 that they had in the first half, definitely some better defense being played there by Illinois. Just your thoughts on the defense and everything else.
Yeah, Andre Stojakovic is probably going to get a little bit of flack, for the performance today. But at the end of the day, there are certain players. The metric that I've heard some of the analysts use before is gravity. There are gravity type players, at NBA level, you'd see like a Nikola Jokic or a Giannis, or guys with gravity, right? And at the college level, Braden Smith is a player that plays with gravity. You either have to throw the entire kitchen sink at him, or you could just try to have somebody man up on him. But if you're going to have somebody man up on him, like they had Andre Stojakovic man up on him throughout the game today, like your game plan there isn't to stop him. You can't stop him. You have to just try to slow him down. You have to use your length, speed, athleticism to just make him take tough shots. And he did take tough shots and he hit them. So, he's a high level player. He's an All-American for a reason. And Andrej Stakovic is a guy that Brad said he'd like to become a 1A defender in Kylan's absence, but you don't go from being a 1B defender who sometimes plays like a 1C defender to being, a Kylan Boswell level defender in 5 days, right? It's going to be a growing process. I think Andre against a lesser player probably would have looked better today on the defensive side of the ball. And, team defense as a whole, again, they held Purdue, like you said, to 39 points in the second half. This is the 2 top offenses in the country going head to head. Anytime you could hold, a top 5 offense under 80 points, at worst, that's an average performance for your defense. And I'd say in Illinois' case, a couple block shots and timely turnovers from Purdue when they were on offense. Like, I'd say this was a below average offensive performance for Purdue. So Illinois absolutely, outperformed what the average expectation should have been. And, the defense won't necessarily get a ton of love for it because it's still Purdue, but they won the game. And you don't win the game if you don't do enough to stop Purdue during timely situations.
Yeah, Purdue from the 2-point range, they shot 57% in this one. In the 3-point range, they shot 37%, which obviously, if Purdue's not hitting their threes and you are hitting your threes, Illinois shot 47% from 3 in this game. Like I talked about, Keaton Wagler himself was 9 for 11 from 3. I mean, that's really what did it. I mean, you went into Mackey Arena, defeated a Purdue team that only turned the ball over 3 times in the game with a 7-man rotation and without your best defender, who normally would guard Braden Smith. Like, you put all of this into context and everything, it really does, do a great job of showing how impressive a performance this was for Illinois. I really felt like the key in the second half, obviously Braden Smith goes down and he's injured there for a little bit. He comes back in and stuff like that. But Purdue was not able to get out in transition and run far as much as they wanted to, primarily because in the second half, Illinois was hitting their shots. When they were missing their shots in the first half, that was allowing for Braden Smith to get the ball, push the tempo much more, and then that was when you got unfavorable situations, and Illinois wasn't able to capitalize with their height and their size as much as before. But then once you were able to get back, get set on defense, and those legs of Purdue was a little bit more tired, then that's when you had a much better opportunity to actually get your defense set, go up against these guys, and you force Braden Smith, like you said, into tough shots. And yes, he was hitting them, but there were also times when he wasn't hitting them. There was the 3, I think it was a 3 or a 2 he made late into the game, but right before that, he missed another shot that was huge because Illinois came down, capitalized on it, and pushed it to a 2-score lead after that. So, continuing to put Purdue in the half court and everything else and not allow them to push the tempo was absolutely massive for Illinois. They didn't have to go out and get all the big turnovers or anything. They were just able to utilize their size on the offensive end, get more offensive rebounds, and then obviously get the ball in Keaton Wagler's hands and let him go out there and continue to score. Later on in the second half, they started doubling Braden Smith a little bit more. I liked that switch up. I would say it was probably under about the 2-3 minute mark when they started doing that, and they were leaving some guys like TKR just open, but those guys weren't down in the paint because Illinois still had a player down there in the paint to help protect it down there. What were your thoughts with the way that Illinois adjusted that defense and kind of went away from just the Andrej Stojakovic guarding Braden Smith to more of the doubling and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit out of necessity. I know they also sprinkled in some zone throughout the game as well. Like, Braden Smith at one point in the second half was hitting, he got hot, and it's probably not a great idea to leave the same man on him exclusively if he's gaining momentum. It's just good situational coaching. I don't think it necessarily stopped Braden Smith from, again, performing, but it definitely had an impact. It definitely made them eat some more clock, especially down the home stretch of the game, where, if you could force Purdue to take an extra 3 to 5 seconds in every possession, and that might burn an extra half a minute to a minute over the course of the final 5. Like, that's huge for Illinois. Once they had the lead, they were trying to nurse it. If they could have ran up the score, I'm sure they would have loved to, but you got to protect the lead, and anything that they could do to slow Braden Smith down was probably the right call on defense.
For sure, and they also did it without fouling all that much either. I mean, Merkovich, he had 4 fouls in this game. He was really the only one that was in a whole bunch of foul trouble. You know, Andre and Tommy both had 3 as well, but it never really felt like they were in a ton of foul trouble or anything. On Purdue side, they had TKR in foul trouble. He got 4 fouls. About halfway through, maybe a little bit less than that, through the second half, and really tough for Purdue to operate. Now, they are not what they were last year, where they pretty much only had their 3 players. But in this one, when you had Fletcher Lawyer, what did he finish with? He finished 3 of 7, 0 for 3 from 3. Or no, sorry, that was Cox. 1 of 5, 1 for 3 from 3. When you don't have Fletcher Lawyer playing all that well, and you got TKR there in foul trouble, it really was all on Braden Smith. And I think that Brad Underwood, Coach Underwood, did a fantastic job of recognizing that and really just focusing everything on Braden Smith, because there really wasn't anybody that was out there helping him late in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that analysis is spot on.
Sweet. Anything else from this game, or anything you want to mention, you want to talk about? I kind of just led all of it and just got your thoughts on it. Was there anything else that you saw?
Yeah, no, I think we've pretty much hit on it. I do want to have one little side note. Best wishes to Jason Jaxtis. It was announced pregame that he had a blood clot in his shoulder, so he's out for an indefinite period of time. He hadn't played a ton for the team this year, but regardless of what they're doing on the court, you wish the best for everybody. And obviously, a blood clot in any scenarios can be serious. So we just wish him the best for him.
And David Merkovich was questionable going into this one. He comes out and he plays 28 minutes in this game. Any idea what the status was with him, or what went on there?
Yeah, Coach Underwood mentioned in a presser last week that David was nursing a little bit of a sickness. So It might be, your case, your seasonal case of winter sniffles, probably something a little worse. I don't think they list him questionable if it's just common cold, but clearly it wasn't enough to hold him back. They do practice pretty tough in practice too, so maybe he had an ankle or something. You never know. But as far as what we have heard confirmed, like I said, Underwood said he was sick sometime last week. Maybe he's still sick, but I'm sure if we don't hear in the presser today, we won't hear. And if we do hear, then, it's probably fine because he played.
For sure. You got the sniffles and you're still the second leading scorer on the team. That's fine by me. So great job out there, David. And great job by the entire team. I mean, we had a few criticisms here and there, but overall, this was a game where it was a lot of really good team basketball. They adjusted well. I liked what Brad Underwood did with his decision-making, his adjustments out there. I think that's something that, some Illini fans have been a little critical of, but I think Brad Underwood did, Coach Underwood did a fantastic job adjusting and making the right decisions in this one, setting his team up. And it also doesn't hurt when you have a guy go out there and score 46 points. So that helps too. So
yeah.
All right. Unless you got anything else, Carson, I think that's all I got.
I'm all good.
All right, man. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Talk Illini here with Orange and Blue News of the On3 Network. Join us again after the next game as we'll be recapping it and talking more Illini hoops. It's a really exciting time, really, really exciting season. Taking down Purdue, and the only game that you're going to see them this year. Might see them again in the Big Ten tournament or something like that, but at least in the regular season is the only time they'll see Purdue this year, and it feels good to get the win for sure. So we'll see you next time. Have a good one.